Good morning, and everyone, welcome. Very nice to see all of you folks here. I saw many of you about 15 months ago or so at the launch of HEALS, and we were just getting used to the new name, and we did not yet have a director. And I remember saying at the time that the caliber of the speakers was spectacular, like a fantasy football team if biologists played football. We're now entering a different season. This may reveal that I was at Duke for 30 years, but now it looks like the March Madness of collaborations. So much action, everyone playing their heart out, and all that energy ultimately focused on real-world progress for patients, a game where everybody wins. So huge congratulations to everyone who's been part of HEALS. This has been really an action-packed first year. I was just talking to Angela. She's like, maybe too action-packed. So it's been great. Looking out at the amazing group, I see people involved in every dimension. We've got PIs here, postdocs and students who are actively engaged in brand new HEALS collaborations, to the outside researchers and clinicians and organizations they're working with, to the generous supporters who have been funding the work, for which we're incredibly appreciative. We have the leadership of MIT HEALS, all sort of under the big umbrella of presidential initiatives that are being shepherded so brilliantly by our provost, Anantha Chandrakasan. We have the faculty director, Angela Koehler, here, her outstanding team, including Ian Cheeseman and Katerina Rebeck, and everyone who planned and organized today's event. We have MIT alums who've stepped up to mentor our students, and members of the external advisory board who are mentoring really the whole initiative. Special shout out to Nubar Afayan, today's keynote speaker, who chairs that advisory board. So really appreciative, Nubar, of your willingness to support us right from the start and help the world recognize the tremendous potential of HEALS here at MIT. So I have to say, we seem to spend a lot of time on acronyms here, but I have to say in the last year, I think we've turned HEALS from a catchy name into an inspiring new force for good. So the propagation of the name alone is a non-trivial marker of your progress. I hear it many places I go. People speak about MIT HEALS as an entity. We can actually spawn acronyms right and left, 3 acronyms before breakfast, but mostly they exist and persist for our own convenience. But MIT HEALS is different. It became a phrase to conjure with across the greater Boston ecosystem, at hospitals, in industry, and of course here at MIT. People recognize it when I say it, and I hear others refer to it naturally all of the time. You have arrived, the community is rooting for you, because they've already seen the promise of HEALS play out in action. With two breakthrough seed grant programs, we're seeing major collaborations across departments, 5 PIs each, ranging from an exploration of core mechanistic biology and its relationship to disease, to an AI-rooted effort to invent devices to monitor maternal health during pregnancy. And with the 17 innovator seed grants, we're seeing HEALS engage in even a wider range of topics, including a collaboration between a leading environmental researcher and a leading cancer researcher. That's new scholarship that would not have sprung to life without HEALS. We're also seeing HEALS provide direct support for rising talent from its broad cohort of graduate fellows, some of you who you'll hear from today. We have 100+ undergraduates who jumped at the chance to work on hard problems at the intersection of engineering, biology, and human health, and of course, a cohort of postdoctoral fellows that are associated with HEALS. You know, sometimes in the beginning, outsiders would pose a sort of skeptical question: why would MIT make such a big institutional commitment to something like HEALS? Well, here's one statistic. As measured by publications over the last 5 years, roughly 3/4 of MIT faculty are working in or with fields in health and the life sciences. In other words, if we want to support our faculty, how could we not invest in MIT HEALS? Our goal is to help inspire, accelerate, and deliver solutions at scale to some of society's most urgent and intractable health challenges. And that focus on the big problems in service to society is built into all of the new presidential initiatives, from manufacturing and climate to the humanities, AI, and quantum. Each one empowers MIT faculty to tackle very important societal problems through new collaborations that magnify their individual impact beyond what any of them could do alone. These collaborations nearly always cross disciplines. So as HEALS and the other initiatives hit their stride, I'm thrilled to see new connections springing up between them too. And Angela will have more to say about that in a moment. So MIT HEALS is racing forward in wonderful ways, but to understand the true significance, I want to take you back just one more time to the launch event. Back when HEALS got started, remember that was December 2024, we would hear from PIs about their struggle to get grants for daring, innovative, high-risk, high-impact ideas. In fact, an inspiration for MIT HEALS was the hope that we could offer some remedy for that long, slow trend in federal funding becoming more cautious. You know, now it seems like those were the days. We have different concerns now about the federal funding landscape. I won't wade into the details today because, you know, we would take the rest of the morning. But using the politest terms that I can, I will say that the current funding environment continues to be wildly uncertain. That's unfortunate, and it's very troubling, but it also makes the existence of MIT HEALS even more significant and its mission even more valuable. It also makes it even more important that all of us connected with MIT HEALS pull together and find ways to sustain our energy and our momentum in the science, in the innovation, in the funding, and in our shared morale for the years to come. This work truly could not be more important, and I'm delighted to be here with all of you to celebrate it. So thank you, everyone, for coming. I think it's going to be a fascinating day. And now I am ready to turn it over to our intrepid faculty director, Professor Angela Koehler.
Well, thank you to everyone braving the weather. I guess the good news is we don't have snow. And thank you to Sally for using a basketball analogy. I happen to be a big Christian Laettner fan. Apologies to anyone who likes Kentucky. I would love it if Sally could spark up a convergent sort of collaboration between MIT and the Blue Devils. That would be amazing. So thank you so much, President Kornbluth. Thank you for your vision and leadership to promote bold and audacious collaboration in the life sciences and medicine. And like Sally, I want to take a moment to talk about this room, and not just this room, because there are hundreds of people who are participating online. We have MIT students, postdocs, and alumni, faculty and staff from across the institute, clinicians from MGH, Brigham and Women's, and other nearby hospitals, researchers from neighboring universities, colleagues from industry and from the philanthropic community, our core leaders here at MIT. That mix of people is not an accident, it is by design. The problems that we are all here to address, cancer, chronic disease, infectious disease, neurodegeneration, sustainable agriculture, health equity, incorporating AI safely into clinical care, will not be solved by any one of us alone. These problems require exactly this kind of room. It requires the diversity of background and career stage within this room. So what is MIT HEALS? And why does it exist? Sally already gave you a feel for this. As Sally mentioned, the mission of MIT HEALS is to harness the Institute's world-class expertise to confront health and life science challenges through bold research, life-centered innovation, data sharing, and inspired education, advancing breakthroughs that improve lives and empower future leaders. MIT has extraordinary depth in foundational research, including biology and chemistry, physics and materials, engineering, computing, and data science, among others. The researchers in and around this institute are doing work that has great potential to genuinely impact human health. But great research doesn't automatically lead to impact. Brilliant people in adjacent labs don't automatically find each other. Engineers, clinicians, and scientists don't automatically speak the same language. And the most ambitious, high-risk ideas, the ones that don't fit tightly and nicely into a grant, don't automatically get funded. In my field of chemical biology, we work with a concept called proximity induction. The idea is that you design an agent, sometimes called a molecular glue, that brings two biomolecules in close contact, triggering some kind of signaling event in a cell, sometimes new, sometimes established, but it's something that neither biomolecule can achieve in isolation. You don't need to redesign either biomolecule. You just need to position them correctly, and the cellular magic happens. HEALS aims to be a molecular glue. We want to create a framework to bring our community of diverse researchers, driving new interactions and new biological magic. This is also known amongst many of you as convergence. Our job at HEALS is to create proximity or convergence between departments, between the lab and the clinic, between academia and industry, between a student and an internship, between an ambitious idea and the resources it needs to move forward. We're an agent, but you make the magic happen. Now, when these molecules come together and create a cellular change, it can happen with different kinetic profiles, and the same goes with HEALS. First, we hope to catalyze research and opportunities with immediate impact, rapid development and translation of technologies into the clinic with turnaround timelines measured in months and not in decades. These are the kinds of projects that can move from a breakthrough innovation to a patient in 18 to 24 months. But there's a second horizon that's a bit more audacious. We believe MIT is the place to take on projects that challenge paradigms entirely through investment in foundational research and early stage technology development. It's in our history, it's in our DNA, propelling the Human Genome Project, developing lipid nanoparticles that helped combat a pandemic, upending biomolecular design with modality-agnostic generative AI models. Which brings me to the question, what if? What if AI could predict the unknown functions of biomolecules, expanding our knowledge beyond the parts list to create virtual cell models? What if pairing AI and robotics could truly usher in an era of de novo designed, personalized, and safe medicines? And what if you could couple devices and the human body to make medicines on demand in patients responding to shifts in physiological signals? What if you could extend healthy lifespan by 30 years? What if you could solve the health gap for women who spend 25% more time in debilitating health? And what if you could improve the overall health of the globe by increasing production of nutrient-rich food through regenerative agriculture? There's so many what ifs, and today we will challenge this room for you to tell us which what ifs matter to you. I'm certain our keynote speaker this morning will say quite a bit about bold what ifs and the culture of fearless exploration and discovery that can make the impossible possible. This is what we want to achieve within HEALS and within our extended HEALS community. MIT HEALS is designed to serve the entire ecosystem from a student's first experiment to research teams navigating how to bring their innovations to the wider world through commercialization. If that sounds exciting to you, I hope you'll engage the HEALS framework. And for those of you who support this kind of work through philanthropy, collaboration, advice, or mentorship, thank you. As Sally suggested, the most interdisciplinary, highest risk research is often the hardest to fund and execute through traditional mechanisms. This is where industry investment and philanthropic partnership can have outsized impact. And MIT HEALS is a tool to match financial and intellectual resources to research teams, some of which are tackling some of the most consequential problems of our lifetime. So what have we done, and what does this look like in practice? Earlier this year, a graduate fellow in our program connected with a clinician at MGH over a shared frustration, the same diagnostic bottleneck, seen from opposite sides of the hospital wall. That conversation became a collaboration, and that collaboration is now a funded project, and that project will reach patients. As Sally mentioned, we've supported over 100 undergraduate research opportunities, funded 32 graduate fellows, and launched the BISWAS Fellows Program made possible by the BISWAS Family Foundation to support exceptional early career researchers. And they joined our 24 Novo Nordisk postdoctoral fellows funded to date. With our partners and collaborators, we've seeded joint research with Mass General Brigham and funded innovative initiatives spanning pediatric medicine, semiconductors and health, menstruation science, and medical imaging, as well as a new program focused on genomic medicines. We're actively supporting entrepreneurship and commercialization to carry these innovations into the wider world where they can make a real difference. But funding alone does not create proximity. The second thing HEALS does is convene. We bring together researchers who wouldn't otherwise find each other, engineers and clinicians, faculty across departments, MIT, and the broader Boston research community. Today is the most visible example of this, but it happens in smaller rooms too. In workshops, in PI matchmaking sessions, in the conversations that begin when we introduce 2, 3, or 4 researchers who are working on similar problems or sometimes the same problem, but have no idea that they're working on these ideas. It happens even in our newsletter, which we're hoping is keeping the community aware of opportunities and connected to one another. When I joined HEALS, President Emerita Susan Hockfield told me that one of the most impactful things that we could do is start a newsletter where all of us would know where the convenings are and what the opportunities are within health and life sciences. So we've done that, and we're hoping that you will go to that newsletter. We put all of the convenings in one place. We have pizza parties, and we have ice cream socials too. Before I talk about where we're going, I'd be remiss in not calling out a specific team of people who have helped shape HEALS to this point. At first, I'd like to thank Sally again for making health and life sciences a strategic priority. I'd like to thank Provost Anantha Shanakasan for his vision within HEALS. Your judgment and steady hand has really gotten us to where we are today. To my HEALS colleagues, Ian Cheeseman, Katerina Ribic, and Caroline Lowenthal, thank you for helping raise HEALS from an idea to a full program that has now distributed over $20 million to hundreds of individuals on campus in just 1 year. I come to work every day with a smile on my face. So where are we going? Moving into year 2, we will continue to support the same core pillars of talent development, collaborative seeds, and research programs, many of which you will hear about today. In year 1, we noticed an exceptionally strong interest amongst the MIT community to expand our collaborations with local area hospitals. And we hope to double down on these sorts of relationships, including emergent opportunities for undergraduates to explore clinical translation with hospital partners. We also noticed a strong interest in partnering at the earliest stages with our colleagues in industry to solve key bottlenecks or drive innovation too risky for traditional shareholders. And we hope to co-define grand challenges that MIT is uniquely poised to address with industry or philanthropic partners. These grand challenges are something too big for one lab or one discipline to address and are often too risky for traditional funding. And finally, we hope to co-create opportunities in partnership with some of the other presidential initiatives. For example, it is easy to imagine opportunities with the climate initiative involving sustainable foods and health, so keep an eye out for new things to come. So today's program, I'm super excited about it, and I want to thank Katerina Ribic for really shepherding the program that you hear about today. She's worked with a team of faculty members from across the Institute to try to create a program that hopefully you will find exciting and will inspire you. You will hear from researchers, clinicians, and industry leaders, policy experts who are doing extraordinary work at the frontiers of health and life sciences. You will see real-world examples of the convergence that MIT HEALS is designed to foster. But before we go to our next session, I want to leave you with a 2-part assignment. There's supposed to be a slide, but I don't have an advancer here. So that's our newsletter. Next, can you go to the next slide? All right, your homework. So I used to be faculty director of the MIT Deshpande Center, and you don't run an MIT Deshpande Center event without giving homework. This is just a requirement. And so, and I should say that the Deshpande Center is a key partner for MIT HEALS as we think about how to commercialize health-related technologies. So your first assignment is to make a new connection today. You must exchange contact information with at least one new person in this room. And that first conversation could be the beginning of the next best collaboration. And I've already seen this happening ahead of the speaking session. Second, you have to challenge us. You need to challenge the HEALS team. You need to bring us your ideas for grand challenges, problems, convenings that you think we should take on. What is going to be, in your view, transformative for MIT HEALS to tackle? We are here to serve the community in this room, and we really want to hear from you. So with that, let's get started with our keynote. I now welcome Provost Anantharshan Nakasan to the podium.